Today we are going to discuss about e-commerce management. What is e-commerce management? Though sometimes dependent on team size and type of e-commerce model, there are common principles at e-commerce management scope. A holistic view. E-commerce management is the practice of managing an online business so it is successfully achieving its goals of quality product, customer acquisition, and customer retention. Its primary function is the identification of your e-commerce brand's overarching goals and achieving those goals through the management of the brand's wider team. Through direction of the internal hires to management of external stakeholders. Product. An e-commerce manager or management team will often help to select products, develop web traffic product lines, and help craft pricing strategies, which will all involve collaboration with the sourcing manager or buying teams. Right? So, customer acquisition. Once the product is on the website, the e-commerce manager or operations team checks that it is merchandised to the highest possible standards, classified correctly and error-free. They must then direct and liaise with the marketing team to develop digital strategy for the product, which may involve display advertising, search engine optimizing, affiliate programs, influencer marketing, and so on. The strategy may across platforms involve budgets and be both online and offline. Right? So, customer retention. The e-commerce manager must also have a hand in customer retention. From overseeing a seamless UX and checkout funnel to analyzing promotional campaigns and website performance, they should be able to retain a top-line view of the customer, analyze trends in trading, make recommendation on improving performance. E-commerce management challenges. 1. Definition difficulties. The main challenge of e-commerce management is figuring out what it actually means. Is the founder of the company automatically an e-commerce manager? Is a manager the same as a director of e-commerce? Or should two separate roles be created? So what should an e-commerce manager be best versed in? Shipping, marketing, or IT? The sheer breadth of retail models also poses a problem when it comes to thinking about management. A pure play, the direct to customer site will need completely different management to, say, a customer to administration model, like an individual paying consultants. Solution is don't be tied to definitive job roles. We have outlined the general duties of an e-commerce manager or management team, but don't get bogged down by roles you think your company should have. Instead, focus on your core three principles: product, customer acquisition, and customer retention, and solve for any difficulties within those principles. Perhaps your marketing strategies are highly successful, but your product has a high rate of damage on arrival. Instead of hiring a director of e-commerce, consider ramping up your logistics team first to solve for the particular problem. Or perhaps the head of logistics, marketing, and IT all work well enough together to be able to collectively make up a management team. Challenge 2. A team of zero. Often an e-commerce business starts with just one person with a laptop and an idea. Drawing a team can be a challenge, particularly if you have enough experience with hiring, deciding on salary, which role to fill first, and whether to hire remotely, in-house or agency side can all be tricky. Solution is start slow and be flexible. As your business starts to grow, think about which areas you are lacking in and recruit accordingly. Perhaps you are struggling to keep up with emails and need customer service support, or you have realized you need a manufacturing agent who can help renegotiate renegotiate deals as orders increase. When you hire, it's useful to get creative. You might consider agencies, chatbots, and remote freelancers instead of hiring an in-house team straight out of the gate. Challenge 3. Customer personalization. Knowing your customer has been a major challenge for online retail, right? Bricks and mortar stores struggle to translate their tailored offline experience to a virtual model. Whereas pure play e-commerce brand found it hard to figure out who their customer was in the first place. Solution. Embrace machine learning. Machine learning is not as ominous as it sounds. Basically, it is when computers learn from large amount of data in order to make more personalized offerings to customers. Your Netflix recommendations are a good example of this. It is one way you can offer customer personalization online. And this has been steadily improving with the advent of algorithms that can remember a product choices and preferences across sectors and advertise accordingly. Even if you don't have vast amount of big data for machines to learn from, new solutions are coming on to the market for smaller businesses. Challenge 4. Winning customer trust. Conversely, to retail stores that went online, pure play digital brands found building customer trust one of the hardest barriers to hurdle. It typically takes years for customer to build up brand loyalty. But e-tailers needed to quickly gain trust, so click and mortar stores didn't swoop in to steal market share. Adding to this issue has been increasing knowledge around customer security and data. Solution. Protect customer payments. A fast website helps with credibility, as do realistic product specs and an SSL certificate. E-commerce management must ensure brand websites have all these attributes to compete with traditional retailers, as well as a compelling brand story. Challenge 5. A transient landscape. Failing to anticipate the peaks and trough of e-commerce could mean losing revenue and market share to your competition. By keep it up to date with industry developments, whether that be international implication of your business or a new analytical tool, e-commerce businesses are rapidly adopting. Solution. Cross-team research. This is where a reactive, adaptive e-commerce management model comes into play. No one director can stay on top of all the changes that could affect an e-commerce business. But by combining knowledge from heads of logistics, marketing, and web development, you should be able to respond and adapt to changes across your sector. Guiding principles to effectively manage and structure your e-commerce business. Keep defining your key aims. Remember that everyone you hire should fall under one of these three objectives: product, customer acquisition, and customer retention. With these key directives front and center, your hiring trajectory doesn't need to be linear or traditional. Now, successful e-commerce business are hiring a suite of C-level executives straight out of the gate. Instead, concentrate on your primary goals and hire adaptable staff who also have specialist skills. Don't be afraid to hire remotely. Yes, your e-commerce manager or director should ideal to local. But for more specialist roles that don't need oversight into the entire brand, such as your email marketing manager or paid social specialist, consider hiring remote workers or agencies. With clear direction, as well as access to massively improved video conferencing, remote workers don't need to be in-house to make a mark in their roles. Working with robots. Amazon says its robots staff warehouses are 10 years away. So it seems unlikely that small or mid-sized e-commerce companies will be able to fully automate their warehouse just yet. However, if that is something you are keen to look into, robot as a service are available on subscription-based model, allowing smaller companies to trial this hardware without a commitment. Standardize your workflow. When it comes to structure, e-commerce companies usually involve third-party suppliers, remote workers, and agencies, which can mean juggling different time zones and languages. With so many moving parts in play, it is crucial you have one common point of communication for your entire team. Of course, this may not be achievable with suppliers. For example, a buying agent may need to follow up with a manufacturer via WeChat and then replay it by email to your production team. But in-house, don't let one part of your stream lowly communicate over email while the other is conversing on Slack. Having one major point of communication will mean everyone has a chance to understand all parts of the business better, creating a holistic and inclusive company culture. Onboarding. Put together a plan to get new hires up and running as quickly as possible. Hiring remotely means acclimatizing new hires to process virtually. So make sure they have a comprehensive guide that covers all eventualities of their role as well as clear objectives. It is useful here to assign numerical values to roles. For example, requesting that a new head of UX decreases bounce rate by 15% after 6 months. Grow slow. It is tempting to imagine your e-commerce company as a vast business with busy office, fully of chattering employees. Make sure through that your hiring processes are moderate and in line with your business plan. Ideally, you should have a rough timeline of growing your brand and the staff you predict you will need over the coming months and years. Company culture. Often, e-commerce brands have barriers to developing a company culture. Developing a strong company culture is one of the most vital factors in developing a successful brand. That may mean having a flat hierarchy where each team member feels a sense of ownership in the brand and can make recommendations that are put into practice across the entire site. The essential functions of e-commerce business and how to start them. Production and sourcing. Staffing for production and sourcing usually falls under two branches. Production agents, which are typically freelance or remote roles, and sourcing managers who are normally full-time and based locally. Production agent. Communication skills. Characteristics of production agents. Communication skills. Long land and relationship. License. Right? Characteristics of sourcing manager. A degree. Analytical knowledge. Finance experience. Efficiency. Marketing of e-commerce. Marketing at an e-commerce company generally has two main threads. One is the e-commerce director or e-commerce manager, who typically has strong experience in marketing, as well as being able to hire and lead across departments. The order is a more specialist role and can be referred to as an acquisition marketer, digital marketing director, or growth marketer. Here's how to hire for both e-commerce director or manager. Comprehensive skill set. The director must have oversight across operations, logistics, web development, and merchandising. UX experience. Understanding the customer's purchase journey through the website, as well as a track record in its streamlining and optimization. It's a vital part of director role. Previous campaign experience. The director or manager must have a proven track record of launching successful campaigns with quantifiable results. To knowledge. The director will have understanding of e-commerce platforms, social media platforms, and their respective analytics tools, as well as web analytics tools. Digital marketing director, growth marketer, acquisition marketer should have tool knowledge, presentation savvy, visual aesthetic, technology of e-commerce. IT staff are vital in the running of a successful e-commerce brand. A good IT team will be able to create fast-running site with seamless navigational paths for consumers, as well as manage third-party APIs and plugins, and fix any problems with the site before it impacts your customer negatively. Web developer, front and back end development. Developers should have front and back end experience in order to understand the customer journey holistically and to be able to work with UX designers to create the best e-commerce experiences. Platform experience. Look for some with experience in the platform you are running on. It is no good having someone with 10 years of experience on WordPress when your brand is operational on weeks. Mobile first. A good web developer will spend as much time concentrating on how the website looks on mobile as it does on desktop. According to Internet Retailing, mobile retailing grew up by 57% in the UK across the first coronavirus lockdown in 2020, proving online shopping habits are shifting channels. Front-end developer, high quality layouts. A front-end developer should be able to show previous experience of building responsive layout with smooth interactions and transitions. Web performance. A good developer should also be aware and interested in web performance best practice, as well as previous experience developing for accessibility and SEO. UX design. Adaptive A good UX designer should be excited by identifying new product opportunities and experiences across both web and mobile, mapping and expertise. Designers must be able to create wireframes and storyboards as well as mapping user flows. Finance. A good finance manager need not necessarily have previous e-commerce experience. Instead, look for relevant certifications as well as track records of budget allocation and reporting. What should the finance manager have? Reporting. A financial manager must ensure that processes are in place across the business from the marketing to IT departments. In order to be able to report correctly to external auditors as well as internal. Handling that. Finance managers must ensure all value-added tax obligations are met across geographies. Planning. A holistic view of budget will help the manager allocate finances to different departments. Depending on need, a good track record Excel should be on display here. Logistics. Head of logistics manager should have these characteristics: experience and relationships, cost-effective, organization. A head of logistics for an e-commerce team, also known as logistic manager, will be able to confidently develop and execute shipping strategies and operations. Tools and resources for e-commerce management. Whether you are here hiring for a fast-growing brand or looking to take on the management of your own brand, knowledge of the different types of e-commerce management will prove vital in developing your understanding of the hierarchy of the sector and creating your own best practices. Look around for case studies on e-commerce management. Bernard Associates has some useful real-life flowcharts of successful e-commerce businesses. Use them to develop a hierarchy that makes sense for your brand or team. Job sites. Understanding marketing. Sign up all courses on different job sites and understand marketing basics. Understanding logistics. Analyze e-commerce platforms, which offers courses from MIT Supply Chain Management Program. So, e-commerce management involves the holistic oversight of an commerce department or brand. What are the three main types of e-commerce? Business to business, business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer. B2B. B2B e-commerce is where one business sells online to another business. This is typically prevalent in industries such as food or construction, where one business is buying wholesale from another business. B2C. B2C is the main model that comes to mind when people think of e-commerce. Basically, it is a business that sells products to a consumer over the internet. The model typically attracts a more spontaneous consumer who is, on the whole, purchasing lower cost items than in a B2B model. C2C. C2C business is the model where one consumer sells to another consumer through sites such as Etsy, eBay, or Depop. What does an commerce department do? These are some of the key functions of e-commerce department: overseeing buying of the product, management of e-commerce stock and product, overseeing shipping of the product, creating product information and photography for the website, overseeing the design, front and back end development, and UX experience of the website, monitoring and reporting of web analytics, creating marketing, SEO, pay-per-click campaigns to sell the product. Final thought of e-commerce management. So now you should have a clearer understanding of e-commerce management and the element you need to put in place to see successful within your business. Having the right people and process in place will help you to achieve your goals and business goals and continue to grow your e-commerce company. So we are going to end the today's session. Next day, we'll meet from another session. Thank you.